I'm David Silva, and I'm going to read you a story from my book, Stories by David Silva. Before I do that, though, I'm going to do some real quick housekeeping here. For those of you who don't know, when Kath and I lived in California, I wrote a book called Stories by David Silva, and we live in Utah now, by the way. At the time, I recorded the first story in the book and put it on YouTube, and then I shared the clip on Facebook and on Instagram and a few other places too, I think, and got a lot of really sweet, very nice comments, and I appreciate everyone. Also, it helped me commercially because posting that story made my book go from being a seller to being a multi-seller. Well, this weekend I was on Instagram, which I very rarely am, and I got a little thing saying you have messages, and I looked there, and sure enough, there were a lot of comments on my book that I hadn't seen and very positive affirmations, and I decided to read another story. That's what I'm doing now. The problem was there are three things that I really like doing. One of them is playing chess with my grandson. One is cooking with my wife, Kath. And the four things I really like doing: chess, cooking, listening to John Prine music, and questioning the choices I make. So that's where it got tough, because I knew I wanted to read a story, but I didn't know which one. So finally I picked one, and then I came up with an idea. So hold on to this thought, because I'm going to circle back to it, I promise. For those of you who don't know about my book, I'm going to have a link to it up there, down there, somewhere around here. There's going to be a link to the book. It's only $3.99, which is a heck of a deal. To put it in perspective, I was at Walgreens last week, and they had a magazine about the size of the old Life magazines, $13 for this magazine, and it was called What Your Cat is Thinking. We have 4 cats. Cats don't think. It doesn't happen. That is a waste of money. They also had, for $3.99, the same exact price as my book, the current issue of TV Guide. Now, my book does not have any crossword puzzles in it, but it's also not going to be obsolete in a week. In fact, you can leave it to your ancestors, generations to come. They will be reading this and they will be thanking you for having the foresight to have bought this book. So for $3.99, it is a heck of a deal. Now, here's my idea. Circling back to, sorry about that. I don't know what story to read next, but I will read more. That's where you come in. What you can do, get the book, download it, read it, and let me know which story you want me to read next. You can let me know in Facebook and Instagram, and I will check it this time, on YouTube, or best of all, you can email it to me. My email is moorpark.songs@gmail.com, and if you can't remember that, it's okay, because it's in the book in the About the Author section. It has what the address is. Let me know what you want to hear. I will read it. You don't need a voter ID to vote. There's no electoral college, no gerrymandering. Just let me know what you want. I'll read it. Win, 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 win. Now, here's the story. This one is actually a true story. It took place over Christmas in 1965. It's called 00 Dave. It was the year of the man from U.N.C.L.E. It was the year of Pussy Galore. Every boy on the block wanted to be a secret agent. And the toy that we all wanted was the James Bond attaché case, you know, the kind that secret agents carried. On the outside, they looked like normal briefcases, the kind that any 8-year-old boy would carry around if he were practicing law or maybe involved in international banking. But inside, they contained many, many secrets. To begin with, in the side, there was a dagger. Within the case, there was a gun aiming out that when the handle was pushed a certain way, would fire a bullet with pinpoint accuracy. There was an exploding device within the case that when an unauthorized person tried to open it without the proper access code, there would be a giant explosion. The dagger was rubber, the bullets were plastic, the explosion was 3 caps, but that didn't matter. It was good enough for us. Within the case, there was a portfolio that would make it possible for the owner to travel the world without raising any suspicions. There was foreign money. There were maps. There was a passport stamped with exotic locations such as Paris, London, Tokyo, and Budapest. Well, on Christmas Day, we all scored. Suddenly, 25th Street between F and G was being patrolled by innocuous-looking 8-year-old boys with attaché cases. We spoke to each other in code. The bird flies at midnight, one of us might say, to which the other one might reply, the train has no destination. We never assigned any meaning to any of our phrases. We just put together words that didn't go well together and watched for the response. I suppose we could have said, I washed my ears last night, or I like eating Brussels sprouts. There was, however, a method to our madness. We had to have a way of separating the secret agents from the civilians. We might need to engage in a conversation of a top secret nature and did not want to risk sharing classified information vital to national security with just any third grader who happened to have an attaché case, and we used our code to weed them out. Now, I suppose that some cynics might suggest that as a rule, kids do not carry attaché cases, and as such we might have looked out of place as if the only people engaged in commerce in downtown Sacramento were children. I prefer to think of it another way, though. When the historians write back on that time, they'll write about the Beatles, Muhammad Ali, Willie Mays, the Mercury space program. But they will also realize that there were no Russian attacks in the Marshall School District in 1965. The reason, of course, is we were doing our job.